Joining me now is Ian Pryor. He is the executive director of FightForSchools.com, also former senior official in the Trump Justice Department. Ian, okay, big election win, not just in Virginia, but New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Seattle. I can't help but feel like education may have had something to do with all that.
Yeah, well, it certainly did. I mean, I said it the night before the election at a rally for Glenn Youngkin that, really we've been playing the politics of division for about 15 years. Everyone's been sliced and diced into their identity boxes and categories, and the left really uses that to win elections. But when you're talking about something like education and the future of our children, it really transcends political ideology. It transcends, race, gender, ethnicity, religion. And that's really what you saw out here in Virginia, especially in Loudoun County, where parents got together and they weren't all Republican. They were Democrats, they were independents. They came from all different backgrounds, and they really led this fight, and I think inspired much of Virginia to come out and vote for Glenn Youngkin and Winsome Sears and Jason Miyares.
Yeah, talk about the school board thing when it came to Loudoun County. A lot of people weren't there in the beginning of all this uproar. Loudoun County, Virginia, everyone knows about it now. How did the uproar begin? Because school boards didn't just start sucking. They've sucked for a long time. Parents all of a sudden became aware of it. How?
Well, it really started last year when schools were closed and there was no sign that they were going to be reopened at the beginning of 2020. So you had a lot of parents that were organized that would go to school board meetings and, speak truth to power. Ultimately, schools weren't reopened fully, I think, until April of this year. And even that it was a hybrid version. But really, when you get to it, the inflection point is March of this year, where you had this private Facebook group called the Anti-Racist Parents of Loudoun County, with 6 school board members in there. And these individuals in this group were plotting against parents that were, opposed to critical race theory in schools, opposed to opening schools. And I think that is the point where people said, enough of this. If we can't trust our government to be respectful and to represent us, in accordance with state law and their own code of conduct, then we're going to start pushing back and we're going to start exposing what it is that's going on here.
Well, I'm actually going to play you a great little media meltdown that I enjoy a lot. Hang on, watch this.
I think that the real ominous thing is that critical race theory, which isn't real, turned the suburbs 15 points to the Trump insurrection endorsed Republican. What do Democrats do about that?
This is now, I think, also the Republican playbook is to use these issues to scare people, basically, a feeling out of control, that everything's out of control with their children and they need to be protected from these people with this demagogues and this agenda, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's be clear. Some of it was dog whistle.
Yeah.
Right? Some of it was dog whistle racism.
1,000%.
It was education,
right,
which is code for white parents don't like the idea of teaching about race. And I mean, unfortunately, race is just the most palpable tool in the toolkit. It used to be of the Democratic Party back in the day when there were Dixiecrats, and now of the Republican Party. It just is powerful.
Ian, I don't understand. Critical race theory isn't real, but they're mad about critical race theory. I just don't understand. What's real?
Well, a couple of things about that clip. First, I think they may have missed the fact that Winsome Sears, who is black, who is an immigrant, who is a woman and a former Marine, was just elected lieutenant governor, and she is a Republican. So convenient that they left that part out. Secondly, look, I saw the bills that we were getting teachers trained in critical race theory. If it's not real, then what do we spend those thousands of dollars for? I saw an email from the former superintendent saying that, yes, critical race theory is part of our teacher training and our social justice instruction in school. So if it's not real, then what is it that they're talking about? Look, they keep saying, well, critical race theory is not taught. It's not taught in schools. Well, no kidding, it's not taught. Meritocracy is not taught either, but it's applied throughout education. It's just gaslighting. They know it. We know it. And if they keep on doing this, they're going to continue to lose.
I'm glad you brought that up. If they keep on doing this, they're going to continue to lose. Because I don't know about you, Ian. I've been paying close attention since that big election, and I've seen zero indication that they have any intention of stopping at all or slowing down. These people are not capable of introspection.
Yeah, and that's, again, I mean, you've seen those clips. They are doubling down on this, right? I mean, calling parents domestic terrorists, calling them racist because they don't agree, because, we don't believe every single thing that the left wants us to believe, and we push back against it using our freedom of speech. That somehow makes everyone a bad person. Look, the bottom line is what you've seen now is they are going to double down. I'm already starting to see, where they're saying, well, this was really about school closures. And they're trying to really reshape the narrative here that this was not a powerful issue in the Virginia electoral results. It absolutely was. You can go out there, you can ask anyone. We've been out there collecting signatures to recall some of these school board members. And, we even had people that would take a sample Democrat ballot. They would talk to the person that, that was handing them out saying, yeah, I'm a Democrat. And they walk right over and sign for the school board recall. So, this idea that this is going to go away, or just because parents were able to swing an election in Virginia because of their hard work and activism, that we're going to stop, is absolutely false.
And I'm glad you brought up Winsome Sears, because I already love this woman. But when I saw this MSNBC guest, and I'll tell you what, man, gosh, these people were so out of line.
Problem is here, they want white supremacy by ventriloquist effect. There is a black mouth moving, but a white idea through the running on the runway of the tongue of a figure who justifies and legitimates the white supremacist practices.
Did you know Winsome Sears was a white supremacist?
I did not, but I can tell you that comment right there is racist. I mean, the bottom line is these people cannot get past division. They cannot get past identity politics and start looking as individuals for the success that they have achieved. And her success was historic here in Virginia. And her speech, I mean, I don't know if you got a chance to watch her speech, but she gives an amazing speech. And I probably lost my voice on Tuesday just cheering for future Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, because she's fantastic.
Ian, everybody remembers the shot heard round America when Merrick Garland issued that letter to the FBI saying, hey, these parents are domestic terrorists, potentially domestic terrorists. What I was very impressed about, Ian, was that it didn't work. It didn't seem to work at all. In fact, it seemed to ramp things up from the parents.
Yeah, because I think everybody knew what that was. It was a politically motivated memo designed to get parents to stop speaking up in the middle of an election. And they said, yeah, we're not going to do that, because they knew that, listen, these aren't domestic terrorists. These are just parents going to school board meetings, exercising their First Amendment rights. And sure, people that are in public office get all kinds of, garbage emails that, I wouldn't send for sure, but most of them are not credible threats. I mean, they were using that as a way to, really kind of create this narrative that parents are somehow evil and a threat to school board members and to public officials. But I think that thing boomeranged. I mean, look, here in Loudoun County, here in Virginia, I think there were three things that ultimately led to this election result. One, when Terry McAuliffe said parents shouldn't be in charge of what schools teach. Two, when we found out that the Loudoun County School Board covered up a sexual assault to pass a transgender bill. And then three, when Merrick Garland issues his memo that parents are domestic terrorists, basically using the National School Board Association's narrative, which cited the guy who got arrested in Loudoun County, whose daughter was the one who was sexually assaulted.
Ian, where do we go from here? I know you're not slowing down. I know you're not stopping. Where do we go from here?
Well, look, I think when we started Fight for Schools, the mission was not necessarily to go out and recall school board members. The mission was to bring attention to school board races, so that when people run for school board and they send out their flyer saying, I want more recess, it's not just going to be that people are, put on the spot, that we have to understand where they are on a lot of these issues. And I think we have successfully brought attention to school boards across the country. And I would be very doubtful that people are not going to be paying attention the next time there's a school board race. So people need to continue to put the pressure on to make sure that school boards are held accountable, that they don't bring politics of any kind into the schools, that they stick to the basics, math, science, reading, writing, and that even at the state and federal level, let's look at things like school choice. Let's get transparency, accountability, a parent's bill of rights. These are all things that need to happen over the next several years.
Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.